and enterprise business segments. She's a passionate leader. She coaches her team of trust through a unique balance of results-driven focus and customer-oriented empathy. Tia has a proven track record of innovation and resourceful thinking that has enriched every organization she's worked with. Furthermore, Tia is a highly proficient certified Salesforce administrator, developer, and consultant, not to mention a great advocate for young women in STEM, particularly through the Go STEM summer program, which she leads. Thank you so much, Tia. And once we get your slides ready,
That's okay, I don't have any slides.
Oh, okay, well, just a photo, it's coming. All right, thanks.
This is a tremendous honor. I'm so glad to be able to speak here, especially among a group of women who, as they come up, I'm just amazed and floored by just how incredible their careers have been, the thoughts that they have, and the experiences that they have, and what they have to share. But I'm just really grateful to be among them. So what I'm going to start with, though, is a little bit of a story. I had an incredible calculus teacher in high school, Mr. Richards. He was also my rugby coach. And he used to have, at the beginning of every class, a riddle up on the board. And so you'd walk in and there'd be some sort of math problem, math riddle, just to kind of get our brains thinking. I loved how he did this. And so one day we walk into the classroom and there's a riddle on the board that's not like his others. It's not actually a math problem at all. And I want to share this riddle with you. And if you've heard it before, don't tell anybody the answer. Yeah, so the way it goes is there's a man and his daughter, and they are driving home from school like they do every day, and they were in a horrible car accident, tragic, and they're both rushed to the emergency room for emergency medical surgery, life-saving surgery that they both need. And upon arriving into the OR, the surgeon stops and says, "Wait, I can't operate. This is my daughter. How is this possible?" So now if you're among 86% of the people in our class, 86% of people who hear this riddle, you'll be stumped. You'll come up with all kinds of different things like, was she adopted? Like, how does this work? But if you're among the 14% who got this and immediately thought, of course, the surgeon's her mother, then you're among a minority. You're among a minority of people who aren't subject to this implicit bias around women in STEM fields, women in professions that are stereotypically we see men in. And the reason why I tell you this story is because I'm here today to talk to you about, one, what got me into STEM? What was my journey? How did I get there? Why do I stay in STEM? How do I persist through all of these biases that we may experience every day when I tell people that I'm an AI specialist, an engineer, and immediately they're like, how? And then also, what advice do I have for those of you who are interested in getting into a STEM field, who are currently studying STEM and wonder, what's next with my career? And then lastly, what I want to share with you is some of the things that I believe is important for the industry, and what I think is important for us to start to address in order to close the gender gap and get more women to stay in STEM fields, and like Dr. Koh was saying, not get them in, but keep them here, because we all start off as scientists anyway. So first, how did I get into STEM? Well, while I was in that calculus class, it didn't start there. It actually started in junior high school. So junior high school, I was a theater major. I loved being on the stage, loved being head of assembly, loved running plays and working in the AV team. I was an AV geek. And basically what we were doing at school was we were going through, and maybe some of you have experienced this, you go through these personality tests that sort of tell you like what career choices you should make. So I was in the guidance counselor's office doing one of those tests, and my result came back, teacher. And I was like, oh. and only because I have the utmost respect for teachers, you know, it's a very hard job. And I was like, I don't want to look that hard. Therapist. Then it was film director, and I was, ooh, I really like movies. It's great. And what was the last one? So film director, therapist, teacher. I can't remember the fourth. But anyways, through those three, kind of related to the fact that one, I like to tell people what to do. So it'd be great. I liked helping people, so you know that there was that, and obviously had a strong interest in film and television and all of that, and sat down with the guidance counselor to go over the results, and she was like, you know, what's your top pick? Which would you like to do? I was like, of course, film director. I'm gonna be a film director. I'm gonna be the next Steven Spielberg. I'm gonna make the best movies, and you know, I'm gonna go to school for film and arts and story writing. And she was like, that's great too, you know, you got great marks in English, you're very involved in all of that. And she's like, I just want to kind of talk about the others though. Like, what about teacher? And I was like, hell no, not me. And she's like, what about therapist? And I was like, I don't want to listen to people's problems all day. And she's like, you know, you really like to help people, you really like to direct people and kind of give them suggestions and strategies, you like problem solving. You know, I want to, you know, let's think of that as a plan B as well, and how you can prepare yourself for that. Really great guidance counselor, because she stopped me and said, now you can go to school, when you choose your courses for high school, you've got to think about the courses you're going to take for university. So, you know, the advice I'm going to give you is to choose sciences. Go that path. Why? Because if you want to be a film director, you want to get into film, you want to get into an arts degree in a university and study film, you only need the English, and you have to take the English anyway. But if you somewhere along the line decide that this therapy thing might be really interesting, you want to become a psychologist, you want to become a psychiatrist, you're going to need sciences. You're going to need those foundations. So take those and cover all your bases. That was her advice. Cover your bases at the very minimum. You don't have to be into it. You don't have to be excited about it, but just cover your bases and make sure there's no closed doors. So that's how I got into STEM, was started taking sciences, calculus, bio, chem, physics, and I was doing those things in high school. And then I had a psych class, and I was like, this is so cool. I think I really like this now. And I made a decision for myself, and I know that we've heard a lot of speakers come up here and we've probably heard this, you know, you don't want to make decisions based on money. But, you know, I came from a poor background, you know, grew up on welfare. We were homeless when I was in junior high school, you know, and so money was a big motivator. I was like, I need to make money. And, you know, being a film director, chances are probably won't unless I am Steven Spielberg. So I was like, let me find something that's more practical, more useful. Let me go into a profession that I can actually make a good amount of money. And so I was like, let me become a psychiatrist. And so I went to the University of Toronto for neuroscience, well, first psychology. Then I got there and was more interested in the brain than I was in the behavior. So then I started kind of specializing in psychology and neuroscience. Took cognitive learning, started getting more interested now again in learning, and then back to the behavior. Then I took some classes on law and morality. Then I was like, oh, maybe I want to be a lawyer. Then I took some courses on artificial intelligence. I was like, oh, maybe I want to build like an AI tool. I don't know. So I was all over the place, and I had all these different ideas, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But the only thing that was constant was I had to put myself through school. I had to pay my bills. And what was paying the bills at the time was a sales job. And so I worked in sales at a recruiting firm. I worked in sales at a furniture store. I worked in sales at a number of different companies and a number of different industries that became really proficient at selling. And so I focused on that. Again, my motivator was money. I was like, I need to make money. So even though I have this interest in science and artificial intelligence and law and all these other diverse things and different fields, what was paying the bills was the sales career, and I got lucky. So a company called Salesforce called me one day for a sales gig. And I had never heard of them. I didn't know what they did, but I did have a conversation with a gentleman who sold at Microsoft, and he said, "T, if you want to make money, sell in technology, sell in life sciences, or sell in aerospace. So those are the fields those are the industries you want to sell in." So when this tech company called me and said, "Hey, do you want a sales job?" I was like, if I was told that's where I could make money, sure, I'll show up to the interview. And the rest is history from there, because Salesforce for the last 6 years has been my home. It's been an incredible journey. And the reason why I've stayed in technology and why I've stayed in STEM is because they have nurtured the concepts that I think are really important. The diversity that of thought and diversity of people that contribute to complex business problems. And so I'm still on my path. I'm still on my journey trying to figure out where my home is. And just in the last year, Salesforce acquired an AI company. And now we're getting into the world of AI, and now I'm a specialist in that field. So I kind of took a left turn, and I said, let me go work for this division within our organization and put my sales aside and do engineering. And you've heard from some people at Salesforce here today that have talked about kind of our different perspective on getting people into fields. We don't look at the resume and say, okay, does she have an engineering degree? Has she done engineering before? Has she done AI before? They don't go through that checklist. But instead what they do is they bring you through a really tough interview process. They test you. Do you have transferable skills that are going to get you that job? And that's how I got my job as an AI specialist at Salesforce. And so my advice, the advice that I have to anyone who's trying to get into STEM careers is don't focus so much on the STEM career part. Focus on what is it that is interesting to you. What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that will open the doors? And if it's money, that's cool too. You're not really going to be able to predict what it is you're ultimately going to do at the end of the day. I can't tell you what I'm going to be doing in 5 years. But I do know I'm going to be doing something that is something I care about, something that I'm passionate about, something that is going to further my career. And so that is the advice for anyone trying to get into STEM field, is to simply do what you love, and trust me, the rest will follow from there. My recommendations for the industry comes back to the story I told you in the beginning. So this implicit bias that so many of us have about women in these professions where they are, typically not associated with science, technology fields, and men are, is to leverage, and this is going to go counter to some things we heard earlier today, is actually leverage technology and leverage artificial intelligence to look into how we can eliminate implicit bias, eliminate the 86% of us that will by default believe that. And so if we get more people with diverse thinking, working on these platforms, working on these algorithms, and we teach these systems diverse perspectives, ultimately at the end of the day, what we're going to find that we're in a world where a riddle like that isn't really a riddle at all. It's ultimately going to be just a reality and an obvious point. So with that, I just want to thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope that you, from hearing about my scattered journey into the world of STEM and through the world of STEM that continues yet today, you can see how science, technology, no matter what it is that you're doing, as long as you approach it with an open mind and a sincerity of vision, that ultimately you're going to find yourself doing what you're meant to do. So thank you.